pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Second, Mr. Chairman. Sunrise. Or Southwest Mental Health property, I guess. Auditor's warrants, please, under the consent agenda. Instead of the 12/8/20 as I have listed, change that date to 12/7, please. And then you do have add-on warrants this morning that Auditor Treasurer Reich brought down for county revenue add-on for Commissioner's warrants and also road and bridge add-ons for that. And I do have a other business. I have a proclamation for Health and Human Services Workers Proclamation for a Proclamation Day recognition. Take action on that. And like to add at the end when we have time, Sunrise Village, Southwest Mental Health property. Those are my additions.
Mr. Chair, Dan, with those additions, I'll move the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, moved in second by Les. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Chris, you're muted. Can you unmute?
Yep, aye.
Okay, thank you. And Bruce didn't make it on the meeting today, doesn't look like.
Doesn't look like it so far.
Okay.
Okay, approval of the consent agenda.
Chair, move for approval.
Chris, all right. Thank you.
Dan will second.
Dan, thank you.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Nick, road and bridge items.
Good morning.
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 First up for me today is some project updates. And it's that time of year where we're pretty much wrapped up with everything. I don't really have any updates, but I did want to share that we hope to hear about the distribution of the bonding bill by the end of the year. So, and I think we're going to get a few projects off there, so that's good news. So. Next up is just a reminder that we have a bid opening for our January through June fuel needs, and that is on December 22nd at 10:30. Moving on, my next item would be approval of right-of-way payments. We only have one right now. It's for David Flatabo, I believe I'm saying that right, for $1,330. It's for a project up in, I believe in Altona Township. Nothing fancy about this one, it's just pretty
You have to
straightforward.
adjust that. The speaker volume.
Here we go.
But the speaker volume was near zero.
That's okay. That was one giving us the feedback.
Okay. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, so this right-of-way approval here is just a straightforward right-of-way payment for an easement for a box culvert. I believe it's in Altona Township, so.
I would move for approval.
Dan will second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next up, we need to update our bridge priority resolution. This is required in order for the state to release funds to us. I've heard that, it's a bigger deal in like some of the, say, metro counties when they're kind of fighting for order of which thing, when things get done. Here we'll group projects together to try to get a better price, so, that's how we've been handling it in the past. So really, this is just telling the state that you're okay with doing the project, so. The first one on that list is, it's on the Murray County line, but it's our responsibility, and it's about halfway between Ruthven and Woodstock. Then the second bridge listed there is just a few miles northwest of Island, but it's in Sweet Township.
I'd move for approval.
So move.
I move.
Oh, second then.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the bridge replacement list. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
My next item, I was contacted on Friday, I believe, by a maintenance engineer, I think, for our district and the state. And they're going to be sending out an agreement for us to consider. It's, I think they called it a county and state local agency collaboration for COVID. And what they're trying to get at is if COVID went through our shop during snowplow season and we were down to essentially nobody, or that happened to them, it'd just be an agreement set up to where we could work together to keep our roads open. So I told them I like the idea, send us the agreement when you get it done and we'll review it. In my mind, we would take care of our roads first before we would help them, and I'm sure they would do the same, but I think it's worth considering, so just wanted to give you a heads up that this is coming. So we're not going to be forced to do it, but
Well, I suppose in the worst case scenario, if you had a couple feet of snow and the highway was shut, you'd probably have to do the highway first to get to the other roads, wouldn't you?
yeah, or at least plow a path to get to our route, so. Yeah, I guess we might have to do a little bit to get to where we're going to get started, but, some of them start from town on county roads, so.
Right.
But either way, I think it's probably a good idea. I think they're doing the legwork on the paperwork side of it, so,
Kind of similar to the county agreements we have.
that's how I picture it, yes. I think we have one set up with Murray, and I know we have one with Lincoln where we kind of share people when we get overloaded with projects, so, I envision this too. I think mechanics are listed in there, so if their mechanics out and ours has time to fix a flat tire for them or something, we have something set up to do that, so.
Sure.
More to come on that, but I just wanted to give you a heads up now.
Okay.
Maintenance updates. Over the last month, we've been doing some ditch cleans. Our new motor grader showed up. We did get rid of the tack truck. I believe sounded like he was going to drive it all the way back to Hibbing instead of haul it. So, wow, that's long driving that thing. It probably goes 45, 50 miles an hour, so it'll be a little while. But and we've been putting up snow fence that helps with our snow removal. So those are the maintenance activities over the last month. And then my last item is MnDOT is clearing some trees out of that outtake ditch on the north side of town. Yep, they started on that within the last week, so that's good news. I think it's probably just tree cutting for now, and then excavator work probably in the spring, I suppose. So, but that's good. It needs it. So
It'd be nice to get done.
yeah, very nice. Yep, absolutely. So. Well, I guess that's all I had for today. Does anybody else have any questions for me, or?
No? Looks like everyone's good.
Ann? Okay.
I got-
One thing I can bring up
Very
along
good.
with this, if I may, Mr. Vice Chair, is I got a call from Jeff Jones at the City of Pipestone this morning, and the City of Pipestone did take up the idea of cost sharing for the ditch study, and the City Council unanimously did not choose to go along with this, so they did not agree to cost share in the study at this point. So that leaves the county and the private citizens group to go on this. I did have a conversation with Steve Weitz last week, and he was going to talk to the citizens that were involved in that group, and at that time, we were talking about a third. So I'll get in touch with him and see if they're willing to take on a larger share. I'm not sure if the county wants to take on a larger share of this, and do a 50% and a 50%, or where you want to go on, but the city did deny the request to cost share on the project. So, point of information, I'm not looking for any action or anything today on it.
Did they say why?
Nope. They may, I have not seen the video or anything yet, and Jeff was on the phone, I tried to talk to him, but he did call and let me know that they did
Right.
deny it. I'll view the video from the meeting and we'll take a look.
Okay.
All right. Okay, well,
Thank you.
that's it for me for the day. Have a good day.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Sheriff Freeman.
Morning.
Morning.
Here to get our contracts. We have them all signed by I'll do the school one first. School one's been signed by the school board. It's a new contract. It's the same as last one. It goes for 4 years. There's a built-in, a little bit of expense every year if the wages go up and stuff, but it's working really well. So next year it's $45,000 is what the school pays for having an officer out there. As far as I know, it's going really well out there, so it's really tough right now with kids there and they're not there, and then kids are sick, but he's out there most days, so.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's 44. And the contract didn't change from last year to this year. It just kept it where it was, because I know everybody's struggling right now, so.
Right. But it's been a good program for us.
I think it's been a real good program, so.
Mhm.
So I guess we need to get that one approved first, I guess.
Move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the school resource officer contract. Do we have a second?
Second, Chris.
Okay, a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, then I have all the other city contracts. Every year we renew them. Same this year with the school. I kept the prices the same just because I know cities are struggling with finances too. So we're going to try to get by that way. Do you want me just to read the town and the dollar amount, or how do you want me to do it?
Yeah, that's probably fine.
Okay. So Holland, $7,359. This is for a year. Ruthven is $9,483. Island is $2,479. Trotsky is $3,384. Hatfield is $2,125. Woodstock, $4,879. Edgerton, $70,151. And Jasper would be $37,347. They're all based off population, and so obviously next year with the census, that'll all change again too. Then Pipestone was set up 40 years ago on a percent of the budget. So Pipestone's share of the dispatch budget next year, $184,087. And the 43% of the sheriff's budget is $690,988 is what Pipestone will be paying. Like I said, these numbers are all the same from last year, and they all have been agreed to by all the councils out there, so.
Okay, that sounds good. We have a motion to approve the law enforcement contracts.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Wildermuth will move that we approve the contracts.
Okay, motion by Dan,
I'll second.
second by Les. Any further discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, Casey will be coming after a bit. Steve, other business you want to take care of?
Mr. Chairman, we have no personnel issues today to report. Kathy doesn't have anything, so we go ahead and take on the proclamation. Commissioner Johnson brought this to my attention yesterday that the state of Minnesota and the governor signed a proclamation declaring Wednesday, December 8th as County, City, Tribal, and State Health and Human Services Day. So
Should be Wednesday, December 9th.
Wednesday, December 9th?
Yeah. It's 8th today.
Oh, excuse me. I'll go ahead and make that adjustment then. Sorry about that. I'd like a motion to approve the proclamation and authorize the board chair and myself to sign.
Yeah, this is recognizing county, city, tribal, and state health and human service workers. Have a motion by Chris? Yeah, Chris. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Les. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Just thought it's very important to recognize their service during this unusual time we're all in. We want to squeeze in some committee reports.
Sure, that'd be fine.
Ann or Chris, do you want to go for committee reports?
I can start,
Okay,
Chris.
go ahead.
Monday, the 2nd at the Nurse Family Partnership. I attended via Zoom, which about half the board did. I tried meeting in person up there in Renville County. A whole lot to report on. The county contributions are going to remain the same. Kind of the story with a lot of our joint powers right now. Everybody same, whatnot, and just updated some policies regarding telehealth and some other various agreements. Nothing notable really. On Friday the 6th, we had a PCMC COVID-19 update from Brad. We also had another one on the 17th. On the 18th, I attended the ditch flood task force at the EMS building, which we've met about and talked about a couple times since then about the RFP, and just got some news from Steve on that this morning and where that's going. And then on Tuesday the 24th, I had a PCMC regular board meeting. That's all I had for November.
Okay, thank you. Dan,
Yes, I'm ready.
go ahead.
On November 3rd, we just had our regular Pipestone Commissioners meeting on the 3rd. Thursday the 5th was our Prime West meeting. That was a Zoom meeting. Also had our Finance and Contract Committee with that. We've extended a contract extension to our general manager. And as far as we know, that contract will be approved. We have not heard back from him. On the 6th, we had our COVID update that Chris had mentioned. On the 12th, Thursday the 12th, met with Tyler, and we did the official canvass of the election then from the 3rd. On the 13th, Friday, I had my Southwest Mental Health Consortium meeting. That was a Zoom meeting, again, talking about concerns with funding, with where we're coming with deficits in the budget. We're not sure where we're going to be standing. We renewed a couple of contracts that we had.
Then on the 16th, Monday the 16th, participated in the AMC Health and Human Services Committee meeting where we worked on our platform. Tried to really emphasize on that platform the part about our county-based purchasing, and that did make it to the final draft then of our Health and Human Services plank. On the 17th, we had another COVID update from the hospital. On the 18th, I had my Southwest Health and Human Services. Corey, the chair of the Human Services, wasn't able to attend in person, so I attended that one in person instead of via Zoom. On the 23rd, Monday the 23rd, at our solid waste meeting, and also we had our PACE committee meeting in conjunction with the Rural Minnesota Energy Board meeting as well too. So that was a fairly full day on Monday. And that completes my report for the month of November.
Okay, thank you. Les?
Okay, on the 4th, we had a CARES Act meeting here to kind of tie up all the loose ends and see where we were at and what we had left. And then it was reported to the board at the next meeting, commissioner meeting. On the 9th, we had planned ops at the hospital, and that was reviewed at the hospital board meeting on the later in the month. On the 12th, canvass the votes from the November 3rd election. Then on the 18th, they had Southwest Health and Human Services, but I had to leave the meeting early because I had to go to executive radio board meeting, and then at 1 o'clock we had the full board meeting. It wasn't a lot to talk about. We just kind of finalizing a few of the loose ends on the grants and stuff. Then on the 23rd, I had extension. There wasn't a lot to report on there because they've been kind of shut down with the COVID, not much going on. Tried to do a few things, keep people interested. The biggest thing that happened there was the election of officers, and it's the same officers for 21 as it was for 20. Just so, and then on 30th, we had union negotiations. That's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. I guess on the November 10th, they went to the Holland City Council. On the 11th, had an MHA training and a Prime Health Executive Committee meeting. On the 12th, Area 2 and RCRCA met. The confined disposal facility was completed a month early for the Lake Redwood dredging project, and bids are going to go out in January for the dredging work. On the 16th, AMC Environmental and Natural Resource Policy Committee met to review policy additions to the platform. On the 17th, had an MHA training and the COVID update. On the 18th, AMC Coffee, we discussed COVID responses in counties, and then had a One Watershed, One Plan Missouri River meeting in Laverne, where they're applying for a federal grant to supplement the state cost share dollars. On the 19th, I attended the Pipestone Area Chamber Coffee at Double D Gravel, and then had a Prime Health Board meeting. Things are looking much better in 2020 than the last couple of years for the Prime Health pool. On the 23rd, Southwest Regional Solid Waste Commission, the work's ongoing. HHW is up everywhere. Of course, the markets are poor. At our hospital board on the 24th. On the 25th, Highway 23 Coalition met. They're exploring some options for coalition signage along the corridor to promote their mission and recognize projects being completed, and then had a COVID update later. On the 30th, we had the union negotiations with courthouse and highway unions, and then I had an AMC policy meeting afterward where we kind of reviewed the process for the virtual meeting that we held yesterday. On December 2nd, at AMC Coffee where we were talking about advice for new commissioners, which included things like to stay out of conflicts of interest, and the importance of these being nonpartisan positions, staying out of issues that are beyond the scope of our commissioners, purview, work with your township and city officials, and remember that the county staff work for the county, but the commissioners work for the people who elected us. On the 3rd, Area 2 and RCRCA met, and projects are nearly complete prior to winter, and they scheduled an industry day for Thursday, December 10th for potential dredging contractors. I thought they said they'd already had like 8 firms contact them already, so they're getting pretty good response. On the 4th, AMC has this Braver Angels Rural Metro discussion. So I had my first of 2 one-hour conversations with Ramsey County Commissioner Jim McDonough. The annual Township Supervisors meeting was canceled due to COVID. On the 6th, Minnesota Rural Counties met and had speakers from American Farm Bureau Federation and USDA Rural Development, and then we reviewed all the MRC policies and set our priorities for the coming legislative session. And then yesterday in the morning, I had an AMC Board of Directors meeting. Had the virtual AMC meeting in the afternoon where we, of course, set our priorities for 2021. And of course, last night we had Truth and Taxation, and that should do it. Casey's here, so we can move on to Casey.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us. Really, the only thing we're here to request this morning is for the board to appoint Danielle Thompson to the Southwest EMS Board of Directors to represent Pipestone County. We currently do not have anybody representing us since the last person went off, and Southwest EMS is, are they a nonprofit, Steve?
Yes.
They're,
Yep.
okay, so say they're a nonprofit organization serving southwest corner of Minnesota and all the ambulance and first responder services, and they provide a lot of training, equipment, they provided the sheriff's office with training and all their Narcan that they have, but they're very beneficial to us, and they have quarterly meetings that Danielle would be attending, representing us, and I know they have like some legislative updates and more updates on funding and future training and ideas and all that good stuff, and she said she would be willing, and I think she would be an excellent candidate to represent our county.
Great.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would move the appointment of Danielle Thompson.
Okay, we have a motion to approve Danielle's appointment.
Second, Chris.
Second by Chris. Any further discussion? Thanks for stepping up.
Absolutely.
All those in favor?
Just a second, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Aye.
Just one thing I
Aye.
want to bring up. Who is the alternate, or do we not have alternates anymore?
As far as I know, we do not have alternates and didn't request anything.
Okay, all right. There used to be an alternate too, because I served in that capacity when Richard was there, so I didn't know if they had
Okay.
one or not anymore.
I'll contact her to clarify that, but
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't affect us at all, so long as we have a
Okay.
representative now, but in case she wouldn't be there, if there's an alternate, we'd have the ability to have someone represent the county, if they're still doing that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll
Okay,
double check
sounds
with her.
good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, Danielle.
You want to call Tyler, or do you want to take a break, or?
We'll take 5.
Take a little break?
Okay, we'll recess for a few minutes and try to round up Tyler and,
Okay, we're live.
okay, we can reconvene and we'll start with Tyler with our 2019 county audit report approval.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
All right, so first off, I will say we got the handouts that we'll just go through this one by one, Just kind of want to say off top, it was a pretty clean audit. Pretty standard, straightforward from year to year. We'll see that as we go through, and I'll probably be saying that a lot. There wasn't a whole lot of things that made it kind of a crazy year. Obviously, we had central school, which kind of made our expenses go up. But when you actually look at the fund balance at the end of the year, we sat pretty good, and we're more than healthy as a county right now. So we'll kind of go through that little by little here through the 10 handouts, or I guess I don't know how many I hand you. Yeah, 10, 12 handouts here. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop me, or also just kind of go through this. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, or want some more details, let me know, and I can get that stuff for you. So first off, first handout here, the total net position, which is essentially the total assets minus liabilities in the entire county. As you can see, 2015, we had 59 million. In 5 years, we've gone up to 65. I will say that's pretty straightforward, pretty standard from year to year, especially when you factor in a lot of the road and bridge projects we've had over the last couple of years. We knew that was going to be going up. Also, a lot of our assets, we had a large increase in prepaid expenses at the end of 2019. That's strictly just a timing thing from year to year. So it just happened to help our assets this year. So all in all, it's nice to see our net position going up. And I will say, as you can see on handout number 2, a lot of that will stay because of the 1.759 million increase of our net position. Over 1 million of it is due to capital assets. So it's not something that's going to fluctuate a lot from year to year just because we have prepaid expenses. The main increase of that 1 million is highway, roads, and bridges, and also highway equipment. So I would say roughly about 600 was due to road and bridges, and then the other remaining was all the equipment that we bought for the road and bridge last year, or in 2019. So that's why our capital assets went up that much from 2018 to 2019, and you can kind of see on that chart that they have continuously gone up. Like I said, we've had a lot of road and bridge, a lot of roads, and also bridge work that we've done over the last several years trying to get all that stuff updated. So that's obviously just going to be reflected in our capital assets. Okay, next handout, long-term liabilities. As you can see, that's 4 million. That's gone down slightly compared to 2018. Compensated absences stayed roughly the same. The main difference here, our net pension liability went down slightly. The reason that was, as you see in 2016, it was over $7 million. In 2019, it was 3.1. The main reason for that is that the corrections and police and fire fund have much better funded at the state level for para. That's why. That's all that is. Our net pension liability is our portion of the unfunded para. That's all it is. So now that the state increased the contributions, those funds are looking better. So our portion of the unfunded statewide went down. So our share gets better too. OPEB obligation, I will say that's new for 2018 and 2019. That is strictly a GASB number on a sheet. We'll never make those payments. All that is our benefits that we offer to retired individuals, whether it's health insurance, so on and so forth. We don't offer a whole lot. It's up to them if they want to take it or not. That's just an actuary put a number on a piece of paper that we have to, by law, show on our financial statements. It's not our dollar amount that we'll ever pay out. So it's kind of I don't want to say fake number, but it's something that we have to report because GASB can just never let things be and they get bored.
We don't offer any, do we?
The retiree code, like they can pay insurance themselves, but even though they're paying it, it's technically an employee benefit, which is a liability to us. Okay. It's really strange. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's something that GASB makes us do.
So it's the value of the benefit we're recording, right?
Correct. Yep. It's nothing, like you said, we don't actually pay any of it, right, but it's that value. Okay. So, yep. All right.
Dan.
Yeah.
Tyler,
Dan.
would that also encompass things like PTO and so forth, unused PTO? Would that be part of that or not?
For the portion that we no, that is not actually. This is strictly, since we do not have any OPEB, since we don't offer OPEB, which is why in the last years we have not actually had to report any of it, but since our average age of our employees has been creeping up over the last couple of years, we have to have an actuarial study that's done, and if that OPEB just because they have those rights to buy health insurance, so on and so forth. Since that creeps up, we have to report it. It's strictly, we have an older workforce. That's all it is. So that does not include PTO or anything like that. No. It's kind of an oddball line item that we just have to put on there. Okay, so next slide, total revenue expenditures for the governmental activities. Governmental activities, this is going to include the general fund, road and bridge, health and human services, ditch funds, so on and so forth. Essentially all of our funds. You can kind of see from 28 or previous years, pretty straightforward. That's usually what we fall into. Revenues are slightly higher than expenditures. That's just from year to year. That's just how we always do it, and that's a good thing. Obviously, you want to be bringing in slightly more than what you're expending. I will say on the next sheet, as you can see, a large majority, or a vast majority of our revenues do come in taxes, but also intergovernmental revenue through grants. A lot of that, at least $4 million of that was for road and bridge, strictly for grants from the state for all the projects that we have. That's the largest portion of money that we get besides taxes, and that's never going to change. So I will say the gifts and contributions line item on the next slide, it did get moved into miscellaneous, but the reason we moved it into miscellaneous is because we didn't really have a whole lot of gifts and contributions anymore. The only reason we broke that out was in 2017 when we had the beef barn. It was such a high number in that year, we broke it out. Now that it's going back down to the 33 to 17,000 number, we just kind of broke it, we put it back into miscellaneous. Straightforward from year to year, you see that the numbers didn't really vary a whole lot from 2018 to 2019. One other item that I do want to point out here, in 2019, the investment earnings was $263.73. As you guys know, the economic status of the country has changed significantly, and that's not going to be moving forward. It's not going to be that way. I would say we're probably going to get, from where we're at right now, half of that for 2020, and the rates, there are no investment rates right now. It's non-existent. I'm kind of holding out where we're investing short term to try to get a little better than what we have in our checking account, but it's just really not worth it to tie money up for 5 years right now.
No.
So we're just kind of doing short term and see what we can get, take what we can get right now is where we're at, so. Okay, no questions there. Move on to expenditures.
Dan, I do have a question.
Yeah.
The Magic Fund, what type of return are we getting there, or anything at all from Magic Fund either? Is that still 0.5%?
If 0.5%, I don't know off the top of my head exactly what Magic is, but it's not even 0.5%. It's going to be less than that. The return rates right now are tenths of percentage, so it's going to be, or hundredths, I mean, so it's going to be like 0.04, I want to say, right now for Magic for short term.
Worse, because I know for Area 2 and our CRCA, they have like some kind of a money market fund at their bank that pays more than the Magic Fund currently.
Correct.
And so it's,
There's
they said like 0.15 or.
Yes, let's just say that, yeah, I just invested $2 million of the medical center's money for a 1-year CD at 0.4%. And that's for a 1-year CD. So you're looking at Magic Fund, which is a weekly CD or a weekly money market, essentially. You're looking at the 0.01. I mean, it's not good at all. The difference between what we get in our checking account and our investments is so small that it's not worth tying money up right now. So I know Magic Fund at times is good, but when the economy is the way it is right now, it's just not worth it to invest in there. So it kind of stinks. I know they try to push us to invest there, and at times it makes sense for a small time. It made sense at the end of last year, at the end of 2019 and the first half of 2020, but with all the changes, it changed so fast that we didn't have any free capital at the time because we were waiting for CDs to mature. So,
Did you say 0.04?
yeah.
You're right on. That's what it is today.
0.04.
0.04.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
That's bad.
Yeah, I mean,
It's almost like they're giving you nothing.
they are essentially giving you nothing. That's why I'm not super concerned about tying money up right now. And that's the same way for if you go to 2 years out. I mean, there's no incentive whatsoever to invest money 5 years thinking that they're going to give you more return. So it's just, you might as well just keep our money liquid and hope it gets better in the short term, so. For the expenditures, which is the next slide here, pretty straightforward from year to year. Obviously, you have a slight increase just because we had a slight increase in public safety. Also, we were tearing down the central school in 2019. So that's that was our large payment for the general government. Why that increased so much from 2018 to 2019 is tearing that down. I will say this is strictly a change from the interpretation from Bailey to the state auditors. You can see starting in 2018, we broke out the human services and public health levies back onto their own line item instead of intergovernmental. It doesn't change what the actual expenditure was. We're just putting it in a different spot because that's where Bailey thought we should put it. To me, I really don't care where we put it as long as you can see it. So pretty straightforward from year to year. Like I said, the only slight increase is mainly due to tearing down the central school. Okay, next handout here, the major funds summary. Kind of just put this on here. There's a lot of information on this page, so I won't try to inundate you or try to bog you down a whole lot. It's essentially a big picture of where we're at with all of the major funds. I will say the only thing I want to show to you is the assigned line item for the general fund, which is 1.955196. The large portion of that is still solid waste and recycling because we still do have, even after the recycling expenditures, we still have $634,000 left in that assigned line item. So the large majority of that is that line item. We have $200,000 in computer software, $208 in capital improvements, $110 for ambulance, so on and so forth. So that's kind of, I want to say, the county savings account is kind of the way we account for that. The non-major general funds, the 724 in assigned, that's mainly the cash in the Health and Human Services Fund that we left there after we sold, or actually moved it to the Southwest Human Services. So we're good sitting on cash. I will say, even though we'll kind of break this down, we have less months than prior years in expenditures, we're still healthy, and I think that we're actually better off because we're not, I won't say hoarding, but we're just better off financially. So as you can see, our fund balance did go slightly for the general fund by $100,000. Again, a large majority of that was due to the central school. That's all that is. All in all, we're sitting just fine. It's not a big change when you're factoring in $5 million of fund balance when you only go down $100,000. So I will say, and I don't like to talk about the Road and Bridge Fund a whole lot for this. It's a healthy fund. We've always been healthy, but it fluctuates significantly from year to year because of timing and all the projects. So one year it looks bad, the next year it'll look great. So that's why it's a very volatile fund when it comes to that for funding timing. So the next handout, the unrestricted fund balance. We have 4.7 in the general fund, 2.5 in the Road and Bridge, and Family Services 724. Like I said, that is mainly cash in that fund. This sheet shows you the recommended fund balance, 35 to 50% of revenues, or at least 5 months of expenditures. That is the state auditor's recommendation. We have carried that forward since we had them as auditors because Bailey says that that's pretty straightforward, pretty standard for all governments. So as you can see, if you factor in 35 to 50% of the general fund, which is essentially the fund that the county government operates out of, we're sitting well. We still have another $400,000 on top of that. We have 5 months of expenditures would be $3.6 million. We have $4.7 million in the general fund. So we're still sitting very well in the general fund when it comes to fund balance. Number of months year-end fund balance can cover. Based on, that should be 2018 expenditures. I forgot to update that one. We have 6.5 months from the general, 5 from the Road and Bridge, and 6.6 in Family Services. Like I said, Family Services, that's kind of misleading just because that's just cash sitting in there that we can take out of there if we do choose to. So again, this looks like the Road and Bridge might be low, but I know in 2018 that was over 7. So, I mean, that's just the way it goes, so.
Carla, did we have to use any money from Family Services Fund for the school project?
We were going to. We coded that to non-departmental, the expenditures, we coded that to non-departmental, and after looking at it year end, I thought that we were okay, especially after we're just going to pay ourselves back after 5 years.
Right.
We can, if we want to move money from the family services, we can move that money over to cover those costs. Our unassigned balance and the general fund will just look better. That's really all it is. It's just a holding place for money. I didn't think it was necessary after how we ended up at year end. So.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. So
I had a similar.
Oh, sure.
That too, Tyler.
Yeah.
Both that unassigned fund that you're talking about from the old Health and Human Services money and also the assigned fund, you made reference, of course, to the auditor, state auditor. I realize now I'm going to state next time. Would that be a question for them that we're keeping that money in those two accounts, even though that really isn't a Health and Human Services account anymore? It's just kind of what we've called it.
Yeah, I mean, that's been in there since we had the state auditors. State auditors had no problem with us keeping that money in there. It's our choice. And I will say that when it says 724, that's what's totally in that fund is the 724. Like, we don't have anything beyond that. The only thing that we use that fund is for the revenues and the expenditure of the levy. That's all that is. So it says unrestricted fund balance. The unrestricted fund balance and assigned is exactly the same. The only reason it's assigned is because it's assigned to that fund. State auditors have no problem being in there. Our current auditors have no problem being in there. It's strictly a county decision if we want to leave it in there or not. It doesn't go.
I guess my only point is because of when we talked about this last year, I was really confused with that title that was Health and Human Services Fund. And then after you explained to me that was from when we had sold or when we had gone into the Joint Powers Group, that those are just funds left over. I wonder if there would be a better designation for that other than Old Health and Human Services, a little bit clearer in the future so we wouldn't have going forward.
I mean,
what do you think?
I'm fine with it. The reason that, I mean, we've discussed that previously when we closed out, just getting rid of the Health and Human Services Fund and just putting it all in the general fund. I personally have no problem with the way that it's done because we have $1.4 million worth of revenues and expenditures still run through the account, which makes it's not necessarily not of a major fund, as the auditors have declared it to be, because we don't have a ton of activity. But I do think it's nice to have that declaration. You can see that we have $1.4 million of expenditures every single year for Health and Human Services broken out in another fund. I have no problem with moving it. It's, like I said, it's an in and out of that fund right now anyways. The cash sitting in there, we've always kind of had the thought that it's the rainy day fund for the county, especially when, we have roof projects this year, COVID, so on and so forth, that we can transfer money out of there if we do choose to. It's strictly the board's decision. I have no problem with the way, I personally like it kind of broken out, so that we can see exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that, Tyler. I'm not advocating for moving that money somewhere else. I'm just wondering if we should clarify what we call it, if we should call it just a contingency fund or a rainy day fund, or just what would be a better designation so it's a little bit clearer in the future that's not actually Health and Human Services money anymore. It was many, many years ago before we had joined the Joint Powers.
Right. Okay, well, then we're going to have to transfer that money out into the general fund, because right now it's declared as Health and Human Services money. So if we want to change that designation, we have to transfer it out of the Health and Human Services fund. We could leave that fund alone by itself with, I would say, probably leave $200,000 in there just in case the levy is short compared to our expenditures. Transfer that back into the general fund, and then it would go to an assigned fund balance in the general fund as contingency, or whatever you want to designate that at the county level.
Well, you might look at it as a contingency for Health and Human Services, because the way things are going, you don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, that could get consumed pretty quick.
Okay.
Obviously, just seeing how things have gone this year, we don't know what it's going to be like going forward if there's some other tragedy or whatever.
22 could be a whole different looking game.
Right.
So, could be used for program aid if we needed to, if that went away.
Yep.
I will say, even though it's designated, and I understand where you're coming from, Dan, that way it's designated as Health and Human Services, all that takes is one motion by the board to undesignate it. It's just an assigned balance in that fund. We could easily, there's no restriction on that funds anymore. That's why we kind of put it in there is, like you said, we could have a lot more expenditures. Health and Services kind of went through the roof the last couple of years. So if we want to move some, I have no problem if that's the board wants to do that. I want to leave at least, like I said, I want to at least leave a couple $100,000 in there just in case there's shortfalls in that fund. Other than that, if you guys want to move it, I would recommend moving it to an assigned line item in the general fund instead of leaving it as unassigned. So.
No, I understand the way you've explained it, and I concur with you. I think it's better. Leave it alone just the way it is. That makes sense.
Yep. And like I said, it could change after this year. We'll see with all the COVID expenditures we've had, and I know that we've had grants to cover that. But I don't know exactly where we're going to be sitting at year end. So we can always come to that at year end, and we might make some transfers. Or I might recommend some transfers after going through all the financials. So, months of expenditures and fund balance, all governmental funds. Handout number 10. You can see that we went down from 6.25 to 5.93. It's drugged down by road and bridge. Like I said, that fluctuates highly from year to year. The increase from 5.16 to 6.25 from 27 to 18 was strictly due to road and bridge being really high. So road and bridge, like I said, fluctuates so much. It's a very volatile fund, strictly based on timing. It's not necessarily that the fund itself is volatile. It's just the timing of the revenues and the expenditures is volatile from year to year. Months of expenditures and the fund balance for the general fund. As you can see, your unrestricted fund balance, which is all the assignments and our unassigned fund balance. We went down from 7.06 to 6.47 from 18 to 19. A lot of that was a lot of the very small projects and the central school. Personally, I think that we were too high up in 2015, and we should have been trying to spend down that fund balance a little bit. When they only recommend 6, we were almost 9 months. So I think we're getting to the point where we actually should be. So it's a good thing, I think, that we're lowering that. We're trying to keep the levy down and spending out of our fund balance instead of putting it all on the taxpayers, because we do have some funds. So I personally feel, even though you see the lines going down, I think that's actually better for the county long term. Okay. And lastly, handout number 12, just the fund balance for the governmental funds. As you can see, the non-spendable decreased significantly. That non-spendable is inventories and a loan receivable from, one is loan receivable from mental health, Southwest Mental Health, the 197 that we loaned them, I want to say 3 years ago.
Back.
It might have been more at this point, yeah. And then inventories for highway, which again fluctuates significantly from year to year. The restricted, those restricted fund balances are funds that we receive from an outside source, so government, public, so on and so forth, that we have to spend it on a particular item. That is kind of all over the board. So that would be like the recorder technology and compliance funds that we can spend money on, enhanced 911, the aggregate pit restoration, probation supervision, permit to carry, jail canteen funds, so on and so forth.
Solid waste?
Some solid septic loans, sewers, we have some. So a lot of that it's a lot of small numbers added up. And the unassigned fund balance we do have, so that is the unassigned fund balance, or the assigned fund balance, that's the one, that's all of our assigned, so that's elections, buildings, capital improvements, ambulance, solid waste. The 634 is in that assigned fund balance, that's not in the restricted. Computer software, school resource, so on and so forth. And then the unassigned, so we have $2.8 million in our general fund that we have that's unassigned. That's essentially just cash sitting there that we can use for everyday expenditures that you guys as the board have not designated as anything, so that if there's any expenditures or anything like that, or any large projects that come up that we're not planning on, it would come out of that 2.8 million. So that's really all I have for the presentation. Like I said, it's a pretty straightforward year. From year to year, we had some more expenditures than we thought we were going to, but we were planning to spend that out of fund balance anyways. Like I said, I think that was a great decision by the county board because we do have the funds and there was no need to put it on the taxpayers at that time. So I guess that's all I really have for the audit.
Borrow money for it either.
Exactly, we didn't borrow money either. So, I mean, I like doing that, that's fine. I mean, I have no problem with that when we don't have large, or even when we have large projects, we have the fund balance. The board has done a great job the last decade to make sure that we have money set aside so that we don't have to borrow. If we continue on the path that we're at, even though we went down slightly, it doesn't mean we're going in the wrong direction. I think that we were just a little too high and we're just kind of spending some money down to where we actually should be. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like I said, I would say this is at the end of last year. That's just how audits go. I could have presented this to you a little earlier, but with the elections, we kind of got pushed to the back. So that's all I really have for the audit. I don't know if you guys have any other questions or just generic comments on that. I did send the actual audit itself. I apologize to not get that to you with a handout. I sent it to Steve, so he can forward that on to you if you want to look through that. You got it? Okay, perfect. You can look through that if you want. Look through the notes. I can sit down and discuss anything with you if you want some further detail on that. So
You need a motion to approve the audit then?
we can. I mean, it's a good thing to do, just like that you agree with the recommendation. So,
Yeah, so let's approve the audit.
yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the audit from
Okay,
19.
moved by Les,
Yep. Dan will second.
Thank
second by
you.
Dan. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So, all right, so there's the audit. So the next thing that we have to do is actually approve, or I'm bringing forward a 5-year contract to continue with Eide Bailey. We've been in with them for 3 years now. They offered a 3-year or a 5-year. I looked at the prices, which are on page 4 of the agreement, and I'm very happy with those. I'll be honest with you that these numbers are lower than what they, after being with us for 3 years, it's lower than what they initially offered us 3 years ago. So they love working with us. We love working with them. We're very familiar with them. Now that, I mean, the first couple of years of an audit, a lot of it is just learning the county, learning how they want things, so on and so forth. So the speed has increased. And just, it's a much more efficient audit, as you can see reflected in the cost of this. I mean, if 27.8, that's less than what we paid this last year. So they're factoring in the efficiency that we're having with them, and it's only going to get better as we move forward. So I personally recommend sticking with Eide Bailey. I love working with the crew. They love working with us. There's no complaints, whether it's with Leslie out at Highway or anybody else. Everybody from our office loves them. They love working with us. So everything gets done in a timely manner, and they're willing to work with us much more than what the state auditors were.
It's a bargain compared to the state auditor.
Yeah, when the state auditors were charging us at least $60,000 a year, I mean, it's much better. So I will say that those fees do not include if we do become a fiscal audit, or I mean, not fiscal audit, oh man, I'm having a brain fart. Essentially a financial audit if we have over $750,000 worth of federal funds. Or single audit, that's the word, sorry. I don't think we're gonna get, or we will be that this year, obviously, because we have the federal funds for the COVID.
Yeah,
Yep.
We'll get audited for 20.
Yep.
Single audit.
And that is usually about 2,000. So you could add that on there. It's not a lot. They just have to go through the federal funds a little more with a fine tooth comb to ensure that they get spent appropriately. So I just want to say that that could be higher for 2020. We're about 50-50, whether we're a single audit or not, depending on the last times we were a single audit was when we had a bunch of FEMA money because of the rains we had, 3 years ago, I want to say, where we had a ton of storms. Yeah.
I suppose if you had a big federal road project.
Was it 14? Yeah, big federal road project, or we had a bunch of FEMA money. Yeah. So that's really the only reason. It's oddball things that we would become a single audit for. So I'm just looking for approval, official approval to sign the contract for 5 years with Eide Bailey.
Mr. Chair, I will move that we enter into this 5-year agreement with Eide Bailey.
Second, Chris.
Okay, moved by Dan, second by Chris. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah, that's all I have for you guys.
All right.
No other questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before the board today?
Sunrise Village, Southwest Mental Health.
Oh, yes. Is that a
Closed session.
closed session deal?
Close the session for that?
Yep.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to go into closed session to discuss something to do with the property at Sunrise Village in Jasper?
I'll move, Mr. Chair. Chris?
Okay, moved by Chris,
Second.
second by Les. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, just a question, how we facilitate that? Do you want us to call back in so that we can make sure that it is a closed session? How do you want to do that?
Means I leave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how will that work?
I'm looking to see who's on here now. Let's see. The media is gone.
Just wait, Dallas.
Chris is on. This is on. Kathy is muted.
Yep.
And there's no one else on.
It looks like we're good. I think we're good, Steve.
Can Dallas stay for this?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had a motion to that effect, so it's not like we have to table anything. It's just that we decided not to pursue.
Right. Okay, we're in open session now.
Okay, so, yeah, we just came out of closed session discussing the Sunrise Village property, and at this time, the board will take no action regarding that property, and I guess that's about all there is to say about it. So is there anything else to come before the board today?
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing else.
Hearing nothing, I move for adjournment.
Okay, moved by Les to adjourn.
Before we officially adjourn, though, now that Bruce is back with us, this is his last absolute official act, so we got to say thank you, Bruce.
Oh, I appreciate that, Dan, but we'll have another meeting yet this month, I think, on the 22nd.
Yeah,
Oh, you'll be here for the 22nd? Good,
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I hope so, if my
I
health,
hope so too.
I'm feeling good, and feeling fine now, but we'll just see what the next week brings here.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you, I got ahead of myself. You bet.
No problem.
oh, we hope you're feeling well.
That's
Yeah,
right.
no problem. Sorry, I've tried a couple different phones here, finally got one to work, so I was a little late today, but
That's okay.
Better late than never.
Yeah, it was pretty routine.
well, I suppose. Well, anyway, thank you, and have a good week, guys.
You bet.
Yeah.
Okay, all those that want to adjourn, say aye.
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 We are adjourned.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Take care.
You.